another expansion at the top left-hand corner of the map at the 11 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Bisu with a large force, he's inflicted constant casualties on Jaedong, and Bisu has got his army back together. The Jaedong did take out all the Archons, so Bisu does have now fresh Templar, and he does still relying on the 3 expansions. And it looks like we're now looking at Jaedong's first-person view mode. Bisu again with a couple of Corsairs out. Jaedong had initially managed to take them out of the picture, but now they're back in play, and again going to do a good job of protecting those observers. Bisu once again pushing forward. Looks like he's heading for Jaedong's main this time, and this might be the well. If I feel we've already had the decisive battle in this game already, but Jaedong does have those lurkers, so that should help him to hold his defense. It's just a question of whether or not he's going to be able to snipe those observers. Bisu coming in now again. Perfect storm by Bisu. This is the perfect storm, getting a bunch of Hydralists in the process. Jaedong does have those lurkers up on the ridge, and they are doing a good job of defending. He's going to snipe that observer, but at what cost? He's lost at least 5 or 6 Hydralists sniping that one observer. He really needed to have a Scourge handy to snipe that observer with, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do that, and Bisu doesn't have enough of an army, I feel, to break through Jaedong's defenses with the large number of lurkers that Jaedong does have in place on that ridge, buying himself some time. Meanwhile, he's gotten that expansion up at the 12 o'clock position as well as at the 11 o'clock position. If he can just keep those expansions in play a little bit longer and harvest some sort of advantage from them, he might be able to work his way back into this game. But Bisu is not the kind of player you would feel that would allow a player to come back in after he's taken a grip on the game, which I feel Bisu does have right now. Jaedong now with the hive, more lurkers going down for Jaedong, and Bisu trying to circle around, trying to find a position to attack him. And Jaedong's doing an admirable job here of holding his defense, but Bisu is not committing himself. He's doing a good job of whittling his opponent's forces down. Meanwhile, it looks like Bisu has built another expansion at the 6 o'clock position, another one going on at the 5 o'clock position. Jaedong coming in with some Zerglings around the back to try and snipe a couple of High Templar, but running into a wall of Zealots and Dragoons. This time Jaedong just got a couple of Dragoons off guard. He's going to try and pick up from the Dragoons, but brilliant micro by Bisu takes down all the Zerglings without losing a single Dragoon. He had 4 Dragoons there that had been surrounded by a group of about 8 Zerglings, but he didn't lose a single Dragoon in that fight. Jaedong coming in, trying to snipe the observer, but Bisu takes the Overlord down. Perfect play by Bisu. This is absolute perfection. Protoss versus Zerg. Great storm going off, catching off the 2 lurkers. He does manage to kill one of the observers. Another storm goes off, catching off another 2 lurkers. Jaedong getting more reinforced coming into all the ridge. He still hasn't been able to snipe those observers. Looks like he's finally managed to push Bisu back, and Jaedong just hanging on to the cliff by the very edge of his fingernails, scraping the edge of the cliff, and there he's just slipping and slipping, and there's a huge plummeting fall beneath him. There is victory just over the edge for SKT1, and they're almost there. They're almost there with their Protoss champion and their star player delivering for them on this occasion. Bisu once again keeping the pressure on Jaedong, not letting up, and Jaedong obviously holding that ridge, because that ridge is what is allowing him to hold those 2 expansions. I do feel that if Bisu does have that robotics facility out, and with a shuttle, he could drop in a couple of DTs and really wreak havoc in those bases, because Jaedong, as it is struggling to hold on to what he's got. He would really struggle to defend if Bisu did do that. Jaedong meanwhile sending a group of Zerglings there, and those pros managed to slip by, and Bisu carelessly running some reinforcement in through those Hydralists is going to lose a Zealot as well as a Dragoon, but that's not going to bother him too much because he does have masses of forces there. Jaedong with that Defiler, if he can get those Defilers in play, the Defiler man going up, he will have a good chance of holding this. Bisu once again coming in, using the Dragoons and High Templar to great effect. Jaedong forced to bring the Zerglings out. He lost a lot of lurkers. Bisu's not going to be able to bring the majority of his forces up the ramp, but Jaedong really just doesn't have the weight of numbers here. Those lurkers are gone. More than half of Jaedong's lurkers are gone. He's left with his very last line of defense, a very thin line, a very thin layer, just holding Bisu off, but he's conceded half that ridge. He has been able to hold it though. He's going to be able to put reinforcements back on top. Jaedong sending the Zerglings around, but Bisu this time has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases to Jaedong's 1, 2, 3. Well, both players with the 5 bases, both players have equal number of bases, but Bisu's bases have been up for longer, and really the Protoss economy shining right now, as was India's during the economic boom. But most economies these days are like Jaedong's, struggling to keep pace. But Bisu with storms once again. Bisu's storms in this game have just been perfect. Bisu has just delivered perfect storm throughout this game, and now he's barreling his way through Jaedong's forces. He's just not caring about those lurkers. There's about 8 lurkers there, and Bisu looks like he might be forced back, but Bisu has taken a corner of the ridge. He's taken the bottom corner of the bridge, the south hand of the south portion of the ridge, out of range of those lurkers, and he's going to work his way up that ridge. Great tactics by Bisu, clearing out one half of the ridge first, and then clearing out the second half, dividing, not allowing the lurkers to be maximum effect, not allowing his forces, keeping his forces together. Jaedong now finally with the Defilers out. Do they have the energy for... They don't have the energy. The Defilers are just auto rally point following it to that ridge, and they don't really have the energy for anything, and Bisu's going to be able to kill them and focus them down, and that's going to be GG, folks. And Jaedong with the Defilers, Jaedong consumes an Overlord, manages to catch a Swarm over a handful of Hydralisk, but really in trouble here, and I don't understand why those, and Bisu now with reinforcements coming. Jaedong did manage to kill off most of Bisu's army, but he doesn't have the reinforcements. Jaedong's got a few reinforcements as well. He's still hanging on just barely. He's got a Sloan Sunken there. Bisu with a group of sellouts. If he can keep that, the Defiler goes down. If he had managed to save that Defiler, he might have had a chance, but he just doesn't have anything now, and Bisu is probably going to be able to finish this game here. Another great storm by Bisu, taking out the remaining Hydralisk, and now those expansions are vulnerable. Jaedong has got reinforcements coming in. Meanwhile, Bisu Zealots marauding in one of Jaedong's expansions as well, marauding in that expansion at the 12 o'clock base. He's losing all the drones there, and that's surely GG. Bisu now with the robotics support facility. I don't know why he's built that so late. He doesn't really need it. And Jaedong is going to go down, and it has to be said, even though Jaedong has fought hard in this game, even though it's looked close, I don't think it's been a close game. I think Bisu has dominated this game from the get-go, and I wanted to say to you guys before this game ends, is that even though I was a little bit against Bisu when he started out, about the way he dealt with Savior and the way he used that probe skip trip against Hua Shen, who I thought really perhaps deserved to have a better chance in that matchup against Bisu. The way he plays, his charisma and his style of StarCraft is just so entertaining that you can't help but be converted. And this commentator has definitely been converted into a Bisu fan. And Jaedong, GG's! Bisu secures the victory. He is the champion, and he takes down the Zerg Destroyer, and will secure the victory for SKT1. Brilliant game of StarCraft by Bisu. I really enjoyed it. What a great game of StarCraft. And I have to say, it felt to me like Bisu dominated that game right from the start. It never felt to me like Jaedong was really in that game. He was just always hanging on. And finally, Bisu steps on those fingernails, crushes those hands, and forces Jaedong to plummet to the earth. Jaedong is really upset about losing that game of StarCraft. And it's understandable. He tried hard, and against a lesser player. And Jaedong is actually in tears. This is shocking, guys. It just shows you how much this means, how much it means to these players. Obviously, this is a lot more. Those tears aren't because he's lost the ace match for his team. Those tears aren't because his team has not won the matchup and has gone down. Those tears are because he is the premier Zerg player and he's lost to the premier Protoss player. Those tears are because he wants to emblaze his name across the name of StarCraft. And losing to Bisu is not going to help him do that, guys. This is Klazart. What a great game of StarCraft. Some of you guys have asked about my book. You can check out the HarperCollins review on it. They made some suggestions, and I'm just working on doing some editing right now. I took a break for about a couple of weeks, and once I get it done, I will keep you guys updated on its progress. If you guys want to check it out, it's going to be up there on the website for another week or two before I take it down, the first 3 chapters. But anyway, again, thank you guys to you guys who did support me on it. There won't be any more commentaries for another week or two, as I'm going to be away in England watching the 2020 World Cup, but expect some more then when I return. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Klazart.